Okay, just doing a little bit of trolling. Something I like to do between casting points. Used to do a lot of trolling. It was my number one method of actually catching fish on lures, but as I've progressed and changed, grown older, whatever it might be, I find I enjoy casting lures more than trolling, but it's still a viable method of catching fish. I find it's a positive use of time in between casting spots. Overall, I just don't like being on the water and not having a lure in the water with a chance of catching a fish. So it makes sense to me that if you're going in between spots, and especially in a kayak, you know, you're pretty much traveling at a trolling speed regardless. It's not as though you're in a pro bass boat or, you know, one of those high-speed competition boats that, you know, you can jet from place to place. You know, you're just going along at a nice sedate trolling speed, so you might as well make use of that time. I'm guessing flatty because of where I am and what I'm fishing with, but you can never be sure. It's got a bit of weight, whatever it is. And it's not overly happy with me at the moment, which is fair enough. But yeah, it's a good sized flathead. Just going to back the drag off a little bit here and let it burn off a little bit of energy. Don't want to bring it into the kayak when it's too green. And I also don't want to risk pulling the hook by going too hard on it. So yeah, I'll just try and stay calm. Let the fish have a bit of a run. There are some snags around here on the bottom that can possibly cause me some grief, but it's fairly open. I might regret saying that, but this is basically brim gear. It's a 2 to 4 kilo rod. It's a 1000 size reel. 10-pound braid, 8-pound leader. I haven't been able to see where the hook set is to know how hard I can go on this fish. If it's firmly in the top lip, yeah, it's a good fish. Don't want to get its head out of the water. That's when it starts thrashing around. Sometimes when they see the net, they can go a little bit unhappy. Ah, there we go. In the net. Yeah, baby. That's a good fish. This is a lure that I won as a raffle prize on the weekend down at the Gold Coast Social Flathead. Never used it before. Obviously, they do the job. It's the Ima Melty Nymph. Thank you, Ima, for donating that prize to the competition. As always, I use the TT jig heads. That's the HD headlocks 1/4, and yeah, good stuff. A lot about kayak fishing and handling your fish successfully and is about being prepared, knowing where things are, staying calm, getting yourself organised. So I'm going to take a picture of this fish, get it on the measure. It's just sitting there in the net. So now I'm just going to Try and get these lip grips into him, or her, as the case may be. Okay, so the lip grips are in. I'm still holding the weight of the fish in the net as much as possible. I'll get a little bit of water up on this mat so that I don't drag off too much slime. And the measure is just long enough. 63 to the tip. 60, yep, 63. Now to get a picture. So there you go. That's what 63 centimetres of North Brisbane flathead looks like. Casting a jig head, soft plastic. I had a drop off. Midweek fishing, well, Friday fishing, lucky enough to get a day off. Got to be happy with that. Okay mate, okay. So just let him swim there in the water. He hasn't been out of the water for very long, but it's always a good idea to give the fish a bit of a recovery time before you let them go. Make sure that they're well. It wasn't as though the lure was deep in the fish's mouth. It was a nice lip hook, so there won't be any issues with the release and the health of this fish. Felt a tap on the hop there. Just gave it a bit to set the hook. And as you can see, I'm hooked up again. Not sure of the weight of this one. It's let go. Oh, very disappointing. Not sure that there's much more that I could have done in that instance. Hook's nice and sharp. Just looks as though it slipped. The drag wasn't too tight. Sometimes you just have to say stuff it, cast again. Yep, got it. Now, I set the hook on that one a little bit harder than I had the previous one. After dropping one, you probably get a little bit a little bit excited. Guessing it's another flatty. But I've caught multiple species in this location while chasing flatties, including jew, threadfin, trevally, catfish. So you're never really 100% sure until you see them. And oh, it's an estuary cod. That's a bit unexpected, but pretty cool. I can add to my species count now. In there with his beautiful spots and bands. Huge big mouth, and you can see down the gullet there, he's halfway through swallowing a fish. A bait fish of some kind, and he still decided that he wanted to have a bite on this one. So there you go. Isn't that pretty cool? Let's see if we can't find out what sort of fish this is. I'd say that that is a baby catfish. Yep, there's a baby catfish that was about to become morning tea for this little fellow. Nice little bit of bycatch. Pretty cool. we've got our little estuary cod swimming happily in the water there, reviving, just while I get the few pictures of him. Getting ready to take the hook out and let him go on his way. But isn't he just cool looking with those spots? Hang on, mate. Hang on, mate. Yeah, I know. That's that lure that did the damage again. Only a little fella this time. Oh, bit of splashy, splash, splash, splash. Sorry about that. Not going to put this fella on the measure. Just going to try and do a quick release and get him on his way. Oh, steady on there. There we go. On his way. There's a big stingray just here. Just going under the kayak now. Oh, off he goes. So we're almost back at the ramp now. Had a pretty good day, I suppose. We caught a decent fish and a couple of other little ones. Bit disappointing to lose a couple as well, but could have been worse.